Hey folks, Feroz Moto here. Today we're going to be talking about what you need to do to track prep your G80 M3, G82 M4, or G87 M2. So, albeit, you don't really need to do a lot to just take the car out and hit a racetrack. I believe these cars are, out of the factory, one of the most track-capable M cars you can on the market. If you guys watch Misha on the Nürburgring, he's a big perpetuant of it and kind of has a lot of faith in these BMW M cars. Granted, from my experience, I have to agree. This is a very high performance vehicle, and with it doing as well as it does on track with pretty much no touching at all, this car can be a complete weapon out of the box. But if you're like me and want to get a bit more crazy and have a bit more of an enjoyable time in one of these cars on track and not have any of those issues, there are a few things you need to do to make sure that you are covered. First thing I'd say with the car is you definitely need some brake fluid. I got some Castrol SRF brake fluid. I heard this is the cream of the crop when it comes to long lasting and overall probably the best package of brake fluid you can get for a high performance driving car. For the interval period of changing, it can take up to like 2 years, which is great, so you don't have to do it every season. Although it's super expensive for the bottle, it does its job perfectly from what I've heard online and anecdotally. Next you need is a well-performing and dedicated set of track pads. The ones I'm looking at are the RSL Pagid 29s. This is an endurance focused pad based on what the GT4 cars use from BMW, if I recall correctly. It has a decent amount of bite, not something that's gonna rip your face off and destroy your rotors, which is a big one, but overall it should be a perfect learning pad and consistent pad that can last you a season and so on. All right, we are back, guys. Just got some coffee because I feel like a zombie doing this review right now. But as I was saying, for track pads, there are a bunch of options. I'm kind of copying what Jackie Ding is doing with his car, besides it being super time attack focused. So I already have his camber plates installed on the car, which are the Milway adjustable camber plates. I got the track version versus the street. Only main difference is the bearing on the car being more street focused versus I believe a uniball metal type of feeling. The reason for camber is not to kind of look like a Stancy boy, even though it does look pretty cool to look that way. The problem with these cars being McPherson strut in the front, you know, you want to have a lot of camber when taking these turns, or the tire shoulder of your car is going to get completely obliterated, and that is not good when tires are almost, you know, $1,600 a set for a car of this caliber, especially with super wide ones being on 19s and 20s. From my research that I've been seeing online, it seems that around -3 degrees cambers in the front and around net -2 in the rear, with no toe in the front, and I believe 1/32 or 1/16 in the rear is kind of the sweet spot for, I don't want to say complete dual duty, because you will be chewing up your tires a bit more, but if you do drive your car slightly aggressive in the way that you're kind of using your tire shoulders a lot with driving, which I tend to do every time I have an on-ramp or I go to the mountains or do anything, you can definitely get a lot more life out of your tires, and especially a lot more grip as you're going on these tight, twisty turns. From what I've seen with the stock set of tires you can get with the car, they are pretty good, especially the Michelins. I heard the Pirellis like to glaze up pretty quick and get greasy as it goes on with a track day, but that goes on to my opinion on getting tires for this car. The issue with my set of Apexes are, I mean, you know, first world problems, but they are 19 by 10 square. In the perfect world, now that I know that I have the ability to fit 11s all around the car, I would definitely go that route, since it opens up a lot more options in tire options and availability. You know, you're kind of at the mercy of what's in stock and what's available. The tire that I really want to be running is the Continental Extreme Contact Forces. These are kind of the new Endurance 200 tire made by Continental and GoodYear to work together in comparison to making a long-lasting tire that can take up the abuse and keep up a consistent pace throughout the day. Granted, I am not the fastest driver. The reason I want to go with this tire is so I can practice on getting better at driving. The king of endurance tire is typically the Hankook RS4s, but with those not being always in stock, especially on a tire rack, they're also another option, but it's kind of older technology and they kind of show their age. But with me having only 2 sets of tires, with this one being the all-season set I have for the winter and the other one set for the summer, kind of stuck in between 2 worlds. I definitely want to use my Apex set because I love that set and I want to wear them. on this car. But if I have a super dedicated 200 treadwear tire, living with that every day, where I'm going to be hitting the track maybe like once a month, and I do a lot of mileage, as you guys know, seems to be a pretty miserable experience. Granted, it's not the worst 200 tire to live with, but it's definitely something I have to consider, and that's why I'm really heavily considering getting just another set of track wheels just dedicated for that type of driving. So we covered camber for the car, being camber plates to help you save your tires on track. We're talking about having proper tires for the track that could take the abuse if you plan to do a full day. Then we talked about having proper brake fluid and brake pads that could also survive the day, so you don't have any scary moments. And then we should also talk about an alignment, which I've already kind of briefly talked about before with getting anything done on the car, especially with camber plates. Since I did get lowering springs installed, I did get the car aligned at Ivan's Alignments. That's kind of local to my area. And right now we're on one of the most conservative we can have for the winter time to help me get as much life out of these tires as I can, as well as giving me a lot more grip back to the car, as I typically wouldn't have when I had the car initially slammed. When I did the install of springs with Eric, my neighbor, we kind of put at a spot we thought would be perfect for it to be at, and ended up being pretty much like to the T, like track spec ready. We had about minus 3.2, minus 3.3 camber in the front. The rear was around the same. I mean, we had a lot of toe, which is, you know, obviously not good for tire life, but when I was chucking that car around just straight from dropping the car, it felt so good. Like, guys, it felt so good, and I'm so excited to have that back, especially with a more proper dedicated tire. This car is going to be flying. So that is pretty much the minimum and basic and essentials that I'm doing for the car. Now, of course, you got to make sure that your fluids are up to date. I always change the car every 5,000 miles, a little bit earlier if I'm doing track day, track work. I mean, it's pretty OCD for a lower mileage engine, but I mean, I don't care. I'd just rather have that peace of mind of doing it. I just do my returns through FCP Euro, which helps me out, and paying pretty much like 15 bucks for an oil change, so it's not a problem. And other than that, the alignment. So these cars are so capable out of the box. You don't really need to do a lot to have a fun, fast, and safe day with it, especially with you could have your traction on anything and just kind of go hog wild out there on track. So tracks I do plan on hitting this year are NGMP, Thunderbolt, and Lightning. I want to hit Lime Rock and maybe Watkins Glen International or something that is pretty local to me in the area. I don't want to be driving way too far out. I mean, even NGMP is almost like 3 hours from me, so it's quite a drive. Oh yeah, also maybe like New York safety track. So we'll see. Once the car is set up for everything, it's just kind of getting it to the track and having fun at events. And I'm really excited to get the car to that point. I've been slowly getting all the fluids and everything I need to have her refreshed for the upcoming season. I'm going to be doing the diff fluid, the manual transmission fluid, obviously oil, and I think that's really it, as long as I have the brake fluid and everything. So if you guys have any questions or personally have tracked your cars and have any more feedback than me and want to give it down below, please do. I am a novice in this world of tracking, but I've done so much research on Beamer posts and just reading anecdotally from people and watching videos that I feel like I am pretty comfortable with giving out this information. I'm looking forward to see other guys on track. I know this is a newer platform, a very expensive platform, so that's why you don't really see people chucking their cars around on tracks and everything. I really love this world of motorsports and tracking, so I'm so excited to see where it can go with me progressing as a driver, and especially with it being a manual and everything, it's such a fun time, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. So if you liked what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm saying, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know, try to teach me something down below if I said something wrong. Yeah, we can just chat about it. So that's just my 2 cents on the topic. That's what I'm going to be doing to my car to get it where it needs to be, and I'll update you guys on the way as it goes. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and Feroz Moto